This tutorial is about the area of composite figures. So what? When you have two or more shapes that are used to create another shape, that's called a composite figure. How do we do this? Well, we want to decompose or break down the composite figure into the shapes that you know, and then find the areas, and then you either add them together or you subtract them depending on what's going on. All right, so we're going to pretend like all of these shapes are perfectly drawn, okay? So here we have this. What do I see? I see that if I do a line going this way, I get a semicircle or a half circle and a square. All right, so start with your formulas. I'm going to start with the square, which is base times height. We get 4 times 4, which that part is 16 feet squared. That's one part. Now I need to find the semicircle. Well, I know that a circle is pi times the radius squared. But since I have half the circle, in the end, I'm going to divide everything by 2. So let's say we're going to use pi as 3. So 3 times my radius, well, my diameter is 4. So my radius would be half of that, giving me 2. So 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, and so that's the entire circle. I need to then divide this by 2. I get 6 feet squared. All right, so I have this and I have this. So 16 plus 6 gives me 22 feet squared for that entire composite figure. All right, now sometimes they ask you to find the area of a shaded part. All right, so again, this is perfectly drawn. All the sides or all the parts here are actually touching the square. Okay, so I see a square and I see a circle. So again, area is equal to base times height for the square. I get 6 times 6, which gives me 36 centimeters squared. Got to hang on to that. Now my circle, I have the whole thing here, okay? So I'm going to find the whole thing. So I'm going to do pi times radius squared. And we're going to say pi is 3. Now my radius. A lot of times my students would say, well, they didn't give me anything. Well, yes, they did. From here to here, which is the same from here to here, is your diameter. That is 6. My radius would be 3. So we're going to do 3 times 3. All right, so 3 squared is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. And we are in centimeters squared. All right, so circle and my square. Since I'm finding the shaded part, I need to subtract. So 36 minus 27, I get 9. So the area of the shaded part is 9 centimeters squared. All right, one more example. We have this composite figure. I need to break it down into shapes that I know. So if I do this, I get a triangle and I get a rectangle. All right, so let's start with that rectangle. Area is equal to base times height. So my base, let's see here. I think I'm missing a part. Let's say that this right here is 10 units. Okay, so this is 10. That's my base and my height, because remember, base and height are always perpendicular. So I'm going to do 10 times 5 for the bottom part of this composite figure. That gives me 50 units squared. Got to hang on to that. Now I need to do that triangle. All right, so that formula is 1/2 base times height. Again, I need to find what's perpendicular here and here. I know that this whole side is 9. But this little part's 5. So that means this part is 4. So 4 is the height of my triangle. And this little chunk, well, all the way across is 10. This little bit's 4, so that means in order for that to be 10, this blue part has to be 6. So my base is 6, my height is 4. And I'm going to go ahead and take half of 6, which gives me 3. 3 times 4 is 12. So that's 12 units squared. Now, add them together. 50 plus 12 gives me 62 units squared. So again, you need to break down the shapes that you're given, your composite figures, into shapes that you know. And you may not always break it down into the same shapes as somebody sitting right next to you. Okay? I hope that helps.